You proved me right when silence spoke louder than any explanation you could have given. I never imagined being right would feel like holding a shattered heart in my hands. You showed me that sometimes the worst proof is the kind that leaves you breathless. You proved me right in the moments I thought you'd surprise me. You didn't. The truth you revealed was harsh, but it was the only way I could finally move on. You proved me right by walking away when I thought you'd stay and fight. Sometimes being right feels like losing everything, but it's really the beginning of something new. You proved me right in ways I wished were wrong, and that's what made it real. I doubted myself, but you erased every doubt with your undeniable truth. You proved me right by becoming the person I feared you might be all along. The proof you gave wasn't cruel. It was simply honest, in the way only reality can be. You proved me right by showing me the cracks beneath the surface I was too blind to see. I never wanted to be right, but you forced my eyes open to the truth I ignored. You proved me right by turning promises into memories I now choose to forget. Your actions spoke truths that words never dared to whisper. You proved me right when the distance between us became an unspoken goodbye. I was scared of being right, but you made it impossible to deny the truth anymore. You proved me right by breaking the fragile trust that once held us together. Sometimes being right is a lonely place, but it's where I found my strength. You proved me right, and if this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. You showed me that love, without honesty, is just a shadow of what could have been. You proved me right by walking the path I feared you would choose. The truth you revealed was a storm, but after the rain, I found peace. You proved me right when you left me questioning everything I thought I knew. I never imagined being right would feel like losing the world I once believed in. You proved me right by showing me who you truly are beneath the mask. Sometimes proof is the pain we need to grow beyond our past. You proved me right by leaving silence where there used to be love. You were the answer to my doubts and the reason I stopped hoping. You proved me right when actions replaced words and truth took its place. I held on to hope, but you made me see that some things aren't meant to last. You proved me right in ways I wished I could unsee, but I couldn't. The hardest proof is the one that forces you to accept what you feared most. You proved me right by showing me that some promises are meant to be broken. I doubted you, and you made sure my doubts were not in vain. You proved me right by becoming the person I warned myself about. Sometimes the truth we fear the most is the one that sets us free. You proved me right with a silence so loud it drowned every hope I had left. I never wanted to believe it, but you showed me what was always there. You proved me right when the distance between us spoke the loudest. You taught me that being right is sometimes the hardest lesson to accept. You proved me right by choosing a path that left me behind. I held on to illusions, but you shattered them with undeniable truth. You proved me right by showing me the cracks I refused to see. The proof you gave wasn't bitter. It was a bittersweet truth I had to face. You proved me right by becoming a stranger when I needed a friend. Sometimes being right is the beginning of healing, not the end of pain. You proved me right by leaving behind the love that never truly belonged to me. You showed me that trust, broken, is the hardest proof to rebuild. You proved me right in ways that left me broken, but not defeated. I was afraid of being right, but you made it clear that was my only option. You proved me right by showing me who you really are in the darkest moments. Sometimes the truth is a mirror reflecting what we refuse to see. You proved me right. You proved me right by walking away quietly, leaving all the noise behind. You showed me that love without truth is just a fleeting illusion. You proved me right in ways I never wanted to admit but couldn't deny. I doubted, but you made sure there was no room left for uncertainty. You proved me right by becoming the reason I stopped hoping. The truth you revealed hurt, but it was the only way forward. You proved me right, and that truth became the foundation of my new strength. You proved me right by revealing that sometimes love hides behind selfishness and silence. I hoped for change, but you proved me right by staying exactly the same. You showed me that some promises are just words waiting to be broken. You proved me right by turning trust into a fragile glass that shattered with ease. I never imagined being right would feel like carrying a weight I couldn't put down. You proved me right by choosing paths that led away from everything we built. The proof you gave was quiet but undeniable, echoing in every empty space. You proved me right when your absence spoke louder than any excuse. Sometimes the hardest truth is the one we see too late. You proved me right. You showed me that being right means listening to the quiet voice inside, no matter how painful. You proved me right by walking away while I was still trying to hold on. I was scared to admit it, but you confirmed every fear I held. You proved me right by showing me that not all love is meant to last. You became the answer to every doubt I whispered in the dark. The truth you revealed was harsh, but it taught me how to be stronger. You proved me right by breaking the silence with actions I couldn't ignore. I never wanted to believe you, but you made it impossible to deny. You proved me right when your promises faded into memories I now keep locked away. You showed me that love can hurt in ways words never could. You proved me right by becoming the person I feared. I was losing. I doubted. But your truth erased every hope I held onto. You proved me right when the distance between us became a chasm too wide to cross. The proof you gave wasn't cruel, just painfully honest. You showed me that sometimes being right means having to say goodbye. You proved me right by turning every promise into a lesson in letting go. I held on to illusions, but you shattered them with undeniable reality. You proved me right by leaving silence where love once lived. Sometimes the truth we fear the most is the one we need to hear. You proved me right. You showed me that trust, once broken, is a wound that time struggles to heal. You proved me right by walking away when I thought you'd stay. I was afraid of the truth, but you forced me to face it head on. You proved me right in ways I wished I could forget, but I carry them with me still. You showed me that love without honesty is just a fragile illusion. You proved me right by becoming a stranger I once knew so well. The proof you gave was silent, but powerful, echoing in every goodbye. You proved me right by breaking the promises I thought were forever. I doubted myself, but you confirmed every fear I tried to hide. You showed me that some people are just lessons in disguise. You proved me right when your absence screamed louder than words ever could. I held on to hope, but you made it clear that it was time to let go. You proved me right by showing me the cracks beneath the surface. The truth you revealed hurt, but it was the only way I could move forward. You showed me that sometimes love isn't to tube two hearts together. You proved me right when actions replaced words and truth became clear. I never wanted to be right, but you left me no choice. You proved me right by becoming exactly who I feared you would be. The proof you gave wasn't bitter, just a reality I had to accept. You showed me that sometimes being right means accepting loss. You proved me right by turning love into silence. I doubted, but you erased every doubt with undeniable truth. You proved me right when the distance between unbridgeable. The truth you revealed was painful, but it set me free. You showed me that trust, broken, is the hardest proof to heal. You proved me right by leaving behind what was never truly mine. I was scared of being right, but you made it impossible to ignore. You proved me right by showing me who you really are when no one is watching. Sometimes the truth is a mirror reflecting what we refuse to see. You proved me right by walking away quietly, leaving only memories. You showed me that love without truth is fleeting. You proved me right in ways I never wanted to admit but couldn't deny. I doubted, but you made sure my doubts were well-founded. You proved me right by becoming the reason I stopped hoping. The truth you revealed hurt, but it was necessary. You proved me right, and that truth became my new foundation. You proved me right by revealing the silence behind your words. I held on to hope, but you showed me the need to let go. You proved me right in ways that taught me to trust myself more. You showed me that sometimes love means letting go with grace. You proved me right by becoming a chapter I needed to close. The proof you gave wasn't harsh. It was a lesson in courage. You proved me right by showing me the importance of self-worth. I never wanted to believe it, but you made it undeniable. Sometimes the person you doubted the most ends up proving you right in ways that shake your very soul. I never expected the proof to come wrapped in lessons I wasn't prepared to learn. You proved me right, not just with your actions, but with the silence you left behind. You proved me right in ways I never expected, by showing me how fragile trust truly is when shattered. I doubted, but you went beyond my wildest fears and confirmed everything my heart whispered in silence. Sometimes the truth sneaks up in quiet moments, and you proved me right when I thought it was all in my head. You proved me right, but the cost was heavier than I ever anticipated. A lesson wrapped in heartbreak. When I said you could mirage, by becoming a stranger to the person I loved, I never thought the proof would hurt so much, but you showed me exactly why my doubts existed. You proved me right not with words, but with the emptiness you left in the spaces where love once lived. You showed me that sometimes being right means facing a truth you wished was wrong. I was scared to believe the worst, yet you confirmed every fear with actions louder than any promise. You proved me right, not by giving in, but by walking away like it never mattered at all. The truth you revealed was harsh, but it gave me clarity I needed to finally let go. You proved me right in ways I didn't want to see, and yet I'm grateful for the painful awakening. The silence after your departure spoke louder than words, and that's how you proved me right. You never needed to explain. Your choices showed me exactly who you really are. I trusted my intuition. You proved me right by unraveling every illusion I held dear. Showed me that some people aren't meant to stay. And in that, you proved my doubts true. You proved me right, but I refuse to let your truth define my future. Sometimes being right feels like losing, but you taught me it's just the first step to healing. You were the answer to every question I hesitated to ask myself. I held on to hope, but you proved me right by teaching me when to finally let go. You didn't just prove me right, you rewrote my understanding of love and loss. Your betrayal was the final proof I needed to rebuild myself stronger than before. I was blind to signs you ignored, but your actions proved me right more than words ever could. You proved me right, and in that truth, I found the courage to walk away without regrets. The hardest part of being right was knowing it meant losing what I once cherished. You proved me right in ways I didn't expect. By showing me love can sometimes mean goodbye. Your truth was a storm, but it cleared the skies for my new beginning. I never wanted to be right, but you forced my eyes open with your silence and absence. You proved me right, but the lesson wasn't about you. It was about the strength I found within. I watched you choose a path that confirmed my fears, and that was the moment I finally believed myself. You proved me right, but also showed me the power of trusting my own heart above all else. Sometimes the worst proof is the kind that breaks your soul but frees your spirit. You proved me right by being exactly who I thought, fragile and human. The way you walked away without a glance was the proof I never needed spoken aloud. You shattered illusions I didn't know I was clinging to, proving me right in the most painful way. You proved me right by teaching me the difference between love and possession. When doubt becomes reality, it's the hardest proof to accept. But you made it undeniable. You proved me right and gave me the strength to rewrite my own story. The proof you gave wasn't in grand gestures, but in quiet neglect that said everything. You proved me right in ways that left scars. But those scars remind me I survived. You showed me that being right sometimes means walking away from what was never meant to stay. You proved me right and made me believe in my own instincts more than ever. Sometimes proof isn't what you want to see, but what you need to feel to finally heal. You proved me right by revealing the cracks I refused to notice before. The truth you revealed hurt, but it was the medicine I needed to move on. You proved me right not just by breaking promises, but by breaking the very foundation we built on. I was hesitant to believe it, but your actions spoke louder than any lie. You proved me right by showing me how silence can scream louder than words. You made me see clearly what I was afraid to admit. Some people never change. You proved me right, and in that truth, I found my own freedom